So today, guys, we have some really big...
Sorry, hello everyone.
Really big PS5 news to share. The first official news that we've had about the PS5. But before then, we've got some even more exciting news about Xbox.
That's right. Now, Xbox wants to compete, of course, because PlayStation makes an announcement. Well, Xbox is going to make an announcement too, everybody. They've come out with the new Xbox, okay, with no disk drive, okay? No disk drive.
How it feels to play Xbox One.
Like, my wiener is stuck in the disc tray of the Xbox. I've closed it on my penis.
Stimulate your senses.
It's called the Xbox S All Digital Edition, right? Also known as the Sad Edition.
Our first challenge was, how do we make an all-digital Xbox One?
Actually, that was our only challenge.
We told them it can't be done. And they said, it can.
I got it.
You just deleted the disk drive.
Exactly.
Do it again.
You just pressed delete.
That's it.
Xbox SAD, Xbox SAD.
I don't know what they were thinking by calling it that, because my god, the memes were just gonna flow from that, everybody.
Beautiful. It's sad news for Xbox owners with their announcement today, but that is not the main story. The main thing we're here to talk about is the first official details of the PS5. It's not the juiciest information, but it's still good stuff to know, and it definitely sets the scene for the console wars to come. Let's talk about it right now. Okay, so PS5, this is not really how I was expecting to hear news about the system first.
Definitely. I was expecting
Surprising.
E3 time, you know, maybe closer to an actual date that they're going to put their own thing on, because everyone knows they bowed out of E3 for the first time ever.
That's right. This is, the first time in like 20 years that PlayStation will not be at E3.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
everyone was like, what's going on here? What's up with this? Maybe they would do a specific event to unveil the PS5, and they're sort of like clearing the decks for that.
Which they've done before, but they've also been at E3, I don't know, 2013 or 14 or whatever it was, when they announced PS4, they were still at E3, but this one they're not even doing it. So either they had nothing to show, or it's going to be the biggest bonanza we've ever seen, baby.
So this news actually comes courtesy of Wired. They were given an exclusive interview with the lead systems architect of the PS5, who was also the lead architect of like the PS2, 3, and 4. I think actually PS1 as well, maybe. But anyway, the link in the description below if you want to check it out.
I will remember this. I've been remembering lately. It's been great.
So the very first thing they want to stress is that this is not like a PS Pro or an Xbox One X. This is not an incremental upgrade. This is the next
PS4 Pro. It's not the Pro, everybody.
Or even the Pro.
It's not even the Pro.
Should we keep that joke in?
I don't know. Let's just keep it in.
Just keep it in.
PlayStation PPP. I don't know what I'm doing.
You're making...
I don't know.
Why is my PP hard?
What? Where are we going with this?
Where are we going?
So where are we?
We're just jamming.
Let's
okay,
go.
So the PS5. Now the first thing, it's not an incremental upgrade. It's the new one, but it's not necessarily called the PS5. We don't know that it's not called the PS5, but they've not said yes, it's called the PS5. All bets are on that it'll be called the PS5 because they've got a bit of a history of calling it.
It's going to be called the PS5.
It'll be called the PS5.
Okay? It's always going to be like, you know, the PlayStation after 4 or some shit.
Right.
It's going to be something like that.
So
they should call it the PlayStation 360. That'd be great.
That'd be nice. So that's the That's the name. Or the question marks about the name. In terms of what the system is capable of doing and this hardware and the like, they did provide some information about that. I'll read that out here.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense to us, but obviously, if you're really, really into like the hardware manufacturing side of things, then maybe this will mean something to you. The CPU is based on the third generation of AMD's Ryzen line and contains 8 cores of the company's new 7nm Zen 2 micro architecture. The GPU, a custom variant of Radeon's Navi family, will support ray tracing, a technique that models the travel of light to simulate complex interactions in 3D environments.
The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite of 6 hydrocoptic Marsal veins, surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing placed in panendermic semi-boloid slots of the stator.
Sam, tell us more about ray tracing.
Well, the ethics of business. I got no idea. All I know is ray tracing is a new thing.
Okay, right.
And I know what ray tracing is. It's the simulation of black hole. It takes 6 teraflops to create, everybody.
So ray tracing is, you have to imagine that when it comes to light and sound even, right, that game developers kind of have to force that stuff in. How do I know? Okay, so ray tracing basically is a tool that they use that makes the recreation of light and even sound more realistic, because of the way that the engine handles it. So rather than a developer having to like brute force a shadow, for example, by creating it manually, they sort of say, okay, here's a lighting engine, and then the engine is able to sort of say, well, where should a shadow go based upon where this light is, right?
It's all done in real time, right? And
correct.
that's the thing with ray tracing. Yeah, I kind of right.
There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
I'm not the super tech person, but that's the basic thrust of it, right? It just
tune in, guys, for the facts, and we know it.
It does result in a better experience for developers because it means that they don't need to spend so much time creating that specific shadow. They just create a light source, and then the sort of computational stuff takes care of the rest. They can spend their time on other things, and it does result in a better end product as well. I've played ray tracing games. The FPS is lower at the moment because the hardware can't handle it, but it does look better when you enable ray tracing.
Yeah, I wonder if it's really going to cut down development time then, if there's a lot of stuff that they can kind of take out of the equation and
Definitely
focus on
does.
more narrative or more like just world building and all this kind of stuff.
Whatever, sure. But it definitely is an easier time for developers to work with ray tracing when it's implemented correctly.
If only Anthem had ray tracing, they could focus on the narrative, They wouldn't have to worry about the world, for God's sake.
So the fact that this console has ray tracing is actually a big deal because it's really only available on high-end GPUs right now. Or actually, no, that's not true. NVIDIA did patch it into their older GPUs. It's newly emerging technology. It was previously only used in like Hollywood, CGI rendering. Like fucking the Avengers would have ray tracing on their their CGI cutscenes. Scenes. So the fact that a console now has this, it's a pretty big deal.
Definitely, yeah. I think that if it can be this, it's going to be the standard. Like 8K is also going to be the standard, and that's been something that's mentioned. But like we're barely at 4K, people, and now it's already going to 8K. I mean, is it going to be 16K in 3 or 4 years?
I think that was one of the things that actually interested me most about this discussion or this interview was that they said, okay, we can do 8K, and it's like, all right, cool. Does it really look that much better than 4K?
Yeah,
That's
the thing.
And they weren't talking about 60 FPS here. And that really is what interests me more than anything else. And I'm interested in like 120 FPS. I'm interested in 144 FPS. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about 8K resolution. Just give me all the FPS. And I'm disappointed this article didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I think that most gamers, if you're really, an experienced gamer that plays a lot of games like me, of course, people, if you really ask them, do you want 8K or do you just want a really nice, smooth 60 or 80 or 120 frame rate? They're going to say, give me the smooth experience, because at 8K, are you really seeing a difference? Are our eyes able to even see anything past 4K?
The human eye cannot see more than 24 FPS, Sam.
Yes.
That is why they do not bother with stupid FPS.
That's right. We don't know anything, people.
So what else? They also said that we can expect PSVR to make a return, and in fact, your old PSVR, if you have one, will work with the new machine.
Who's using that, really?
To be honest, I have actually been using it because I played Ace Combat recently. It was fucking cool.
I played it too on Ace Combat. Apart from that, I just think there may be other applications that they can use the VR for,
Yes, well, we can guess what you're talking about. Sam.
I'm talking about classic games like Mario Kart. Jesus.
So, yeah, Mario Kart PSVR.
Mario Kart PSVR.
Good job, Sam.
It's going to happen. Crossplay.
So the other thing is backwards compatibility has been confirmed.
Sure.
We are going to be able to play our PS4 games on the PS5. Now, I'm sorry,
but we've done that all the time now. Like that's always the thing.
What are you talking about? Could you play your PS3 games on PS4?
Oh, sorry. I'm talking like...
Could you play your PS2 games on the later versions of the PS3?
Okay, fine, but
like play
in terms of
Xbox on the Xbox at launch,
had plenty of compatibility things later on with
correct.
They did that stuff. I'm just thinking that most of these consoles always try and include that. So
no,
it's not
I don't agree. Could you play your old Nintendo 64 games on a Switch?
Oh no, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I think I know what you're saying, and it's wrong. Okay,
no,
backwards compatibility in a console at launch is a big deal.
Okay, fine. It used to be more of a thing.
It used to be.
Okay, there we go. So when I hear this, I'm like, well, cool. We've done this before. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it's good to see at least.
It is good to see a return to this. I totally agree.
Definitely.
The thing they're making the biggest deal of, though, is the hard drive. Now, you know, the meme right now is that, like, Sony's like, the biggest thing is we've got SSD, baby.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, cool, man.
Anthem's like, finally, we don't have to tell people to put SSDs in. They're going to have it, for God's sake. We keep making Anthem jokes, but why out?
So, this SSD is a meme because everyone's like, who the fuck cares about SSD? However, it does seem like there's some new technology here that's actually quite interesting. They gave an example where, you know, Spider-Man PS4, they load it up on a PS4 Pro and they do a fast travel. It takes 10 seconds to load that. And then they do the same thing on the new machine with the new SSD. And this is just, you know, in a tower. Like, it's just the components at this point. It's not like the design of what it looks like yet. But they've got that, and it loads in 0.8 seconds.
My big question there is, who the hell's fast traveling in Spider-Man? Like, it's the game not to fast travel.
That's actually a very good point.
Like, honestly, I've never seen a game
point.
that does not need a fast travel more than goddamn Spider-Man. But it's good to see that we can maybe get to a point where loading times is going to be like such not a thing that, like, you know, a lot of creative choices can be made. Like, you know, I know we've been making Anthem as a meme, but like that's a perfect example where it was completely hamstringed by the fact that the loading times like just took over as a meme.
Here's an interesting story about how you know, things like load times and hard drive speed affect video games. So, for example, in The Division, right? Everyone's like, "Hey, man, why don't you add like bicycles in The Division or horses so we can get around the map faster?" And I spoke to some of the developers, and they're like, "We can't do that because if you move too fast through the world, we cannot render the world fast enough, right? So as you move through space, it needs to be rendered in front of you, and the faster you move, the faster it needs to happen. So when you have a slower hard drive, the game literally can't do that, or processing power as well, right? So if you have a hard drive like this, it does mean you can move faster through these worlds because they can be pulled from, you know, the storage space more quickly.
But again, I don't know if that's just like a really clever marketing strategy, because if you were to boot up, you know, I don't know, Final Fantasy VII, I don't know, whatever, like just some sort of really basic game and put it into the next gen, how quick is the loading time? It's going to be like that. I don't know if they're using this as a marketing strategy, but when the game's actually released, because they're going to be so much more powerful, that we're not actually going to see a real difference in loading time.
Maybe, we don't know.
That's the
it. True.
You
but that certainly was the thing they were highlighting the most and they were most excited about. There's obviously no details on price point. There's no details on release date. All we know is that there's a big chunky... Oh, we do know that it's going to have a disc drive as well. It's not clear...
It's not going to be a sad edition.
It's not going to be sad.
Awesome.
Sad. Sadly, no sad.
Like, my wiener is stuck in...
It would have been interesting if they did have an all-digital edition, which would make it cheaper for the consumer, because I would buy an all-digital edition personally. I don't buy discs anymore.
I would buy the disc one so I can take the games back.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people do. So there's definitely a market for that still.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see they're going that way. Fair enough, though. That's all good. But that's all the detail we know right now. They're obviously going to have some sort of big reveal event this year where they'll have more information. We do expect it to come out next year. And yeah... PS5, man, it's happening.
It's happening, people.
It's just like we're warming up towards it. This gen is coming to a close, man.
It's been good.
It's been so
God of War. It's been great.
Anthem.
LOL.
Fallout 76.
Oh, man.
Star Wars Battlefront 2.
We still have Diablo Immortal, though. It's okay.
We do.
It's okay.
I got 7 Mac 11s, about 8 38s, 9 9s, 10 Mac 10s. The shits never end. You can't touch my riches. Even if you had MC Hammer and them 357 bitches. Biggie Smalls, the millionaire, the mansion, the yacht, the 2 weed spots, the 2 hot blocks. That's how I got the weed spot. I shot Dread in the head, took the bread and the lamb spread.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.